my bad. Need to go back. Probably turn volume down too. 1 second here, guys. Fear not, my friends. I don't think it's all over yet. We're going to talk about a lot today. We're going to go over my portfolio changes. I updated it over the weekend. Getting closer to 5 million. Maybe that comes today. I think Bitcoin miners have something to prove. Maybe while Metaplanet takes a break. I'm going to talk about why people are morons for pushing that everybody should sell Tesla right now. I'm going to give a lot of shit to Jeremy. And just talk about the stupidity that his financial education channel is spitting out right now, even though I love the guy. I think he's being a moron, and I think if his focus is the Cheesecake Factory over Tesla, that says a lot. And we're going to talk about Bitcoin and why it's ready for launch. And if you guys can see it, down in the bottom right corner, for this entire year, I have called Bitcoin's price action almost to perfection. So if anybody's been paying attention, they've seen that. So we're going to talk about why I'm still right about that. And then again, why Metaplanet is probably one of the best investments you can own. Similar, up 2.64% after being up 1% on Friday. So maybe that's going to actually start to take off soon too. But as Michael Saylor says, I just want to throw out one more here. I'm trying to get as many good intros as possible. These are just short AI things, but I love it. Let's listen to what Michael Saylor has been teaching the stormtroopers.
Michael Saylor said it. There is no second best.
We're getting out of here.
So, I mean, even the empire is starting to realize that Bitcoin is where you need to park your money. And we're going to talk a lot about that. We got conversations from China. I think Xi Jinping is actually in the process of being overthrown. I don't make such hyperbolic statements about China, but I do think that's en route. And again, let's just shit on Jeremy for a second and meet Kevin. And I don't know, Amit. I'm not too much with Amit. I actually love Amit. And he's kind of new to the Tesla space. And I think Amit is a master debater. Anybody who knows Amit really well knows that he was a master debater, got some kind of awards when he was younger. So I could see Amit, especially with knowing that he got in early with Figure, the other robotics company, and did an interview recently and trying to play devil's advocate because recently he just got some, some reposts and some dialogue with Elon Musk. He's probably trying to balance things out and find some kind of equilibrium. And again, he's very new to Tesla, so we'll let it go. But these other guys, these other fucking yahoos that made like 30x off of Tesla, bought big, beautiful houses and invested in other things and grew their YouTube channels immensely, they don't deserve as much grace. They don't deserve as much grace because, again, I think you get a lot of clicks when you shit on Tesla. You do, okay? Especially after what happened, with liberals hating Elon and the whole, and, spending 6 months helping put their enemy into office and then support him in every way that he could. They hate him. And that's going to take probably a little bit to wane away. But, again, telling people telling people, and holy smokus, we're just going to pull him up real quick here, okay? I'm not even following him right now. It's sad. But we're going to pull him up real quick because I want to look at some of his recent comments here, and then we'll kind of go into my thoughts. Again, evidently cheesecake is where it's at right now if you want to get rich, guys. And that does a lot to help humanity. So everybody needs cheesecake. So if you guys don't know that already, follow Jeremy. He'll tell you all about cheesecake. And then he'll tell you why Elon's just a dipshit and jump on the bandwagon with everybody else. He'll show you videos that go back, 5 years talking about how Musk has been promising full autonomy since 2015. Yes, he has vision, Jeremy. You used to know that. You used to know that tackling problems that nobody else has ever solved was hard. You used to get that concept, and you used to be supportive of this guy, and he made you rich. He is one of the primary reasons that you are rich today. But what are you saying as of 13 hours ago? You're telling people to sell Tesla. Sell it all. Robotaxi business will not be anything meaningful financially for 5 years minimum. That's the fucking shit you're posting. That. Do you really believe that? Are you so stupid now that you truly believe that? Robots are the 2030 plus story. Do you believe that? Do you believe that in 4.5 years, that story will be interesting? At least Amit is like pushing figure. At least he has some fucking concept of this company and what's coming. Core business sucks. What is the core business? Are they just a car company, Jeremy? Is that what they are? The valuation is sky high. Yes, they have a high valuation. That is true. But I would argue that 4+ years of sideways chop make that valuation a lot better than it was. This stock will be lower or around here 3 to 5 years from now. You're saying for 10 fucking years, this stock deserves to trade sideways. That's what you're telling us? Waste of capital. Jeremy, you're being a biased dipshit moron. And I say this as your friend. I mean, I'm not really your friend, but I think of you as one because there's this concept called parasocial relationships where I watched your videos for a long fucking time. And so as a parasocial friend, I think you're being a fucking idiot. I think you're being a fucking idiot if you think it's going to take 10 fucking years of sideways chop for the stock to go up. And if you think it's going to take 5 years for robotics to be impactful and a minimum of what? Minimum robotaxi 5 years? 5 years for robotaxi. They're literally going to be deploying this at a massive scale, and you think that. I don't. You know what I've noticed? You know what I've noticed over time? Is that there's a lot of emotional investors out there. There's just a lot. There's a lot of them. It's actually a really popular thing to be an emotional investor. If you want the clicks, you should actually be that. You should be the here's the news and here's why it's so bad and here's why everything's falling apart. Because if you want to do really well, here, I got to go back. Let me get my bookmarks up here. I'm just like floundering. But if you want to do really well for the clickbait shit, that's what you do, right? If you don't have any real vision of your own and you're like a one-trick pony, not saying that you are, but I don't know. There's probably a few things that Jeremy fucked up on. Not that I haven't had my share. I think he's beating me, though. But, yeah, I don't know. Super disappointed. Super disappointed. But you know what? There's some real ones. There's a lot of downgrades coming, but there's companies like Morgan Stanley that still reaffirm their overweight position at a $410 price target. Highlights Tesla's shift from auto to AI and robotics as a key growth driver. I mean, I guess if you're listening to Jeremy, that's 5 years down the road. This motherfucker has Teslas and FSD, and he still doesn't get it. I mean, that's borderline retarded shit. That's full retard shit right there, Jeremy. All right. Dr. Jack, my good friend, not just parasocial. I like this guy. He's a good dude. Oh, by the way, Bitcoin almost at 108,000. If only somebody could have told us that was coming. He said the number of influencers, quote unquote, trying to bring down Tesla seems to be hitting all-time highs. I would agree. This is happening right before robotaxi launches, which will give Tesla the first two exponential increases in its stock value, the second being Optimus next year. These influencers are either doing it for clicks, since Tesla always increases ad revenue, or trying to bring the stock lower to purchase more at a discount. It is either these two things, or they simply they're very uninformed, or their ego tells them they know a lot more than they actually do. You guys be a judge on Jeremy here. I think it's ego, but I could be wrong. Maybe he just wants more ad revenue or to drive the stock down, or both. Maybe it's all three. I don't know. That's possible, right? That's possible. Let's go into some of my thoughts real quick on this, and then I'll try and get into chat. Sawyer is really the only influencer I listen to. That's good. I don't know if I count as an influencer, but I hope you listen to me too, Nick. I said today, and I haven't actually put my orders in yet. I should do that. Tesla down 1.2% in pre-market. I believe we're at the floor. We'll look at that chart in a second. I said I'll be buying more Tesla today, while the fair weather investors like Real Meat Kevin and Holy Smokes and so many more are selling out and saying that the company is in a downhill. Why will I be buying more? Q1 is traditionally the weakest quarter for car sales for everyone. Elon Musk distancing himself from real Donald Trump is actually a positive thing. He looks more like a centrist now, which is why we saw Google Trends explode higher for how do I remove a sticker? Maybe that's the I bought this car before I knew Elon was crazy stickers or something like it. And Google Trends exploded higher for buy a Tesla. So I would argue this is better. 3, they're sitting on $37 billion in cash, and just one Bitcoin buy would probably launch the stock higher. I truly believe that. I believe that when people see Tesla buying more Bitcoin, which I think is a possibility, because the topics that Elon has touched upon in the last week indicate that he doesn't trust the government's ability to spend and or the world's. And in that case, buying Bitcoin with your 37 billion, getting $1 billion of it, maybe $2 billion of it, seems prudent. It seems a lot more prudent than a lot of other things you could do at the Capitol. And again, it's not like they're not spending money. They're spending money. They just have too much coming in. It's a good problem to have. 4, China's energy division is finally going to start pulling in revenue, which seems like a good thing. The new Model Y is the best car ever made outside of the Cybertruck. It literally is amazing, okay? It's amazing. It's so much better than the Model Y I bought 4 years ago. FSD is, I should have used a different, excellent, the best, exceptional. There's nothing like it. Waymo isn't even close. All these Chinese derivatives aren't even close. And people seem to have forgotten that this is basically driverless right now in its current state. And there's a newer version that I haven't even tried yet. I took my friend Megan around. I like to talk to her every once in a while. She lives in California. She's probably a little more liberal. She likes to be centrist and think about things from all views. She probably gets pretty negative perception of, again, Trump and Elon. But I like to talk to her and explain why I believe the future is bright. And guys, if you haven't driven an FSD, you just don't know. Sailor bought 1,045 Bitcoin. That's beautiful. Good to hear. I'm assuming Metaplanet probably bought 2. I guess we'll find out about that. I know AltBG, the Bitcoin group, bought 2. We're just seeing a lot of that. Seems to be a popular thing. We'll look at a chart about that in a second under Bitcoin Treasuries, talking about how public and private companies are purchasing Bitcoin en masse and doubling their Bitcoin position in about 7 fucking months. Public and private companies doubling their Bitcoin position in 7 months. If you're not bullish, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. By the way, as I say this, Iron, a Bitcoin miner, is up 6% in pre-market. CleanSpark is over $10, $10.23, up 4.49% in pre-market. Mara is up 3.23% in pre-market, and MicroStrategy is up 2.26% in pre-market. In the German market with Metaplanet, we're actually down 1.45% after the Japanese market closing up 15.14%. But I would argue that that's probably okay, since Metaplanet in the United States on Friday was up 26.49%. Maybe it's okay for the miners to get the run today. Again, similar, up 4.31% too. Maybe other Bitcoin treasuries feeling a little bit of love too. I think that's okay. And we'll talk about more on why I believe that's okay in a little bit. Victor says AltBG is voting tomorrow for 10 billion euro for more BTC. Amazing. Don't you think? Remember when everybody got excited because Tesla was buying a couple of billion? Shot up Bitcoin like crazy. Now that's just a rounding error for one day. Not even. It's just crazy. Yeah, so there's this little thing called a cybercab that's going to be deployed in Austin. It's happening right now. It already started. There's this other low-cost EV, codenamed Redwood, whatever the fuck they call it nowadays, coming this year. Maybe in the next month. Tesla Optimus is going into commercial production next year, probably getting 5,000 of them this year. The Tesla Semi is ramping. We've got energy division in another warehouse coming up in the United States too. We've got more probably refining of lithium and maybe other rare earth elements as Tesla becomes a larger and larger energy company. There are some negative things too, guys, but damn, I don't know why people are focusing on it. I just don't. I don't. And we're going to look at more in a second. But I said, honestly, there's a bunch more positive things. This should be enough, though. Blows my mind that people can't see it, but I'll be gobbling up these shares as BTC goes higher and I cash in some of those returns. Again, I've told you the plan. I'm just executing now. I said, leave the fair weather influencers behind. These guys are just trying to prove they're not a one-trick pony, and in the process, they're doing just that. They're proving that they are. All right. So again, I've talked about the 4 phases of consolidation. I took advantage of buys on Tesla. I sold most of it, like over here. Actually, I sold probably here and here. I bought back in really hard right here when nobody else believed in it. I bought really hard right here. And that's the start of my real wealth creation, guys. That's when I started to get really, really rich. And I don't know what people consider really rich, but that's when I started to really make a lot of money. I bought hard into late 2022 into Tesla and Meta. And then in early March, I started buying heavy into Palantir, made 600% really quickly off of that. Moved money into Hood, made 1,800% off of that. And just a lot of other things, Bitcoin miners, MicroStrategy plays. All these things gave me a lot of money. And then again, Tesla dropped again hard. I sold a lot of it up here. You can look at my history. I bought a shit ton of it down here. I sold a bunch of it up here. And then I bought a bunch down here, sold a little bit more up here, and now I'm telling you it's a buy again. So you do what you want to do with your time and your money. But I've rode this wave pretty fucking good, and it ain't done yet. I'm going to buy more. All right, again, we were talking about factories. So there's a Brookshire mega factory that's going full steam ahead. They do have some work to do, but this guy visited that location. It's a 1 million square foot warehouse, and this is a mega factory. This is a future mega factory. They're going to recondition the existing factory, and they're starting to build out of the new one. This seems like good stuff. And even though Elon Musk, again, I don't know, some people don't like him anymore because of everything he's been saying. He said, whatever happens, we've got the spaceships. Everybody's like, buy Rocket Lab, Blue Origin, blah, blah, blah. And don't get me wrong, they might make money off it. But if you don't realize that SpaceX puts up 90% of the payload mass for the entire fucking Earth, and you think that's easily replaced by a Rocket Lab, good fucking luck. Don't get me wrong, they could make money. Maybe it's a good investment. But don't bet against Elon. If you do, you're just going to be you're going to be sadly mistaken. Oh, hey, you know what I should do? I need to do something else. I'm kind of done talking about Tesla right now anyway. I'm going to go back here because I want to show this. I want to show my chart on just support zones for Tesla. I actually think we're at one. But what I said over here is I think this first fib, and if you look here, we actually were above the 50 moving average. It's a purple line right in here. On the weekly time frame. I think that says a lot. And I think we're good and could just literally bounce right here. But if for some reason things get more bearish, I think that over here by the 2, you can see that there is around 270, 260s, we start to hit some additional support by the volume profile picking up over here. And then I think the 100 and the 200 moving average down in the 250-ish range are very, very strong levels of support. Somebody said something about it dropping to 220. I think those people are idiots. Maybe they're praying for a double bottom. But I didn't post it here, but you have to realize that we had the second highest daily volume on Tesla's history going back 4 years. And when you see those kind of things, and I'll just pull up Tesla real quick so we can talk about that. Let me just pull up the daily chart. When you see these kind of things down here, you see where this volume is over here. It's the highest level since, let's just go back. It's the highest level over here since February of 2023 when we bottomed. And then the next highest over that period of time was when we bottomed. And then this is the highest over that period of time. So going back over 2 years, this is the highest candle or second highest candle. And all of these other two were bottoming signals. And the other candle, which, I mean, let's look over here, right? We had some massive over here that kind of started to lead to a top. But again, that was on a wicked up curve. And then we had a massive volume candle over here that marked a top. So you can see how really strong levels of volume on the daily, 4 charts, not just this one, all of them, that they lead to either tops or bottoms the majority of the time. They show you a change in momentum, right? And I would argue that after we dropped from almost 370 all the way down to 270, $100 a share drop over a period of a week, that's probably a bottom signal. Call me crazy. You guys do you. I'm pretty good at this, though, I think. And I would call that a bottom signal. I've called a lot of these for Tesla. Way better than Jeremy. Way better than Meet Kevin. And if any of you have been here to see that, can you hit the fucking like? Can you comment? Can you go on X where this post sits right at the top and tell people that this is a great channel and that I do good work? I'm probably going to dial back the number of videos that I make in a given week. I'm down to Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and optionally Friday. But down the road here, as I make more and more money, and if I hit my 12 million mark for this year, that probably drops to like 1 day a week, maybe 2. Because unlike people like Meet Kevin or Jeremy, I don't give a shit about doing this. I'm not doing this for fucking clicks. I did this so that I could retire my fucking bloodline, and I'm still going to do it to a lesser time degree so that I can help other people do that too. But it's not about the money. It's not about ad revenue. I don't even fucking do ads because I found them too annoying, and it wouldn't let me say the things I wanted to say, and it wouldn't let me play the videos for intros that I wanted to play. So I don't give a shit about any of that. So again, please support my work so that I can support you. That's all I'm asking. Someone called you fake. Yeah, I saw that. Thank you for sticking up for me, bro. Evidently, I've got a fake account, guys. This account over here, let me just pull it up real quick. My main account out of the 17 that I have is fake, I guess. I don't know how you do it. If you guys could tell me how I'm faking it, I would love to know. I think that would be hard to do. I think that would be hard to do personally. But let me pull it up here real quick so I can show you my fake account and try and impress you guys with my fakeness. Here we go, guys. Here's the fake account. Hold your eyes. There's a fake account number at the end. There's my fake balance. Here's my fake options contracts. It's all right here for your viewing, guys. All the fakeness of my account is right here for your viewing pleasure. And let's show you. Let's use this segue real quick to pull up my fake portfolio so that we can compare and contrast to previous. Okay? Thanks, Tate. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you, Smoke. All right, so again, I was heavy Mara, heavy Clean Spark, had Meta Planet. My Meta Planet looks huge now. That's partially because of a reduction in Tesla, a reduction in Similar, more purchases, and let's just go back to the Discord here because this is a great place to look. This is a great place to look at my actual trades, right? For historical. You can see them in X2, but it's just harder. There's not like folders, right? I can't share bookmarks. That would be fucking awesome. I hope they do that. But you can see in here where I said, hey, I sold some Similar last week and I bought calls with it. I also bought some TSLL. I think it was like 25K. Because I'm excited when I get sales on Tesla, unlike other people who think the sky is falling. And I sold a little bit of my MTPLF. I sold about 1.3% of my position. But you can't give me too much shit. It was up $400,000 on the day. I think selling a little bit and buying some Similar calls is not a stupid thing. And again, just going back here, you can look at all this stuff. But I tell you, I showed how I just kept buying MTPLF, and that's turned out really well for me, right? That's turned out up like $1 million on MTPLF over a very short period of time, and so I'm not angry about that. I showed in here how, again, just buying so much. I was like, it's down 30% on the day, guys. I couldn't help it. I sold some similar. Again, this is my fake account, just so everybody knows, and we're clear on that. I sold some similar, and I bought a bunch of MTPLF. So, and I sold Tesla. How crazy is that? So on 522, what was it, 522? So I'm such a crazy Tesla bull that on 522, when is that? When is 522? Where was Tesla at 522? Let me just take a look here. Let's take a look at Tesla on 522, guys. Where are we at in 522? 522, we're right about here, right? $340 a share. So like an idiot, I sold Tesla when it was kind of near the top, a local top. And then I bought a bunch. Where the fuck did my Discord over here? And then I bought Metaplanet with it, like an idiot. And then I made a bunch of money off of that. So it's great, right? It's great to just stumble your way into luck all the time. And then I bought again, and then when Metaplanet was doing really good on 521, and I made just a shit ton of money off it, I sold another $70,000 of Metaplanet, and I bought some Tesla stock, not TSLL. I did that Friday. And I bought some ARGT. And then I dumped all that shit so that I could buy Metaplanet once it went down 30% in a day. So again, I kind of ride the waves and look towards the future, right? That's what you should be doing, I would think. Jesse, can I ask you gently to take a look at Alt B? Yeah, we could do that, Victor. Totally. Tristan, 10 likes that this one, and come on, guys. Yeah, 10 likes. Wow. Why do I even do this? Maybe I should cut back on videos and my time spending trying to help other people, because what's the fucking point? All right, anyway. So Metaplanet, I'm kidding. I'm still going to keep doing it, but it would be nice if you guys supported me. Again, Metaplanet became a huge part of my portfolio. Part of this is just a doubling, right? So it technically, I made it a larger part of my portfolio, but about 22%, but then it just kind of doubled and I turned it into even more. It sucks when that happens, but it is making up a large portion of my portfolio now. So I will take profits on that. Not today, actually. Not today. Maybe, if it goes up a bunch today. But otherwise, I'm going to enjoy the ride, I think, from the miners. I'm going to enjoy the 6% on Iron, the 4% on CleanSpark, the 3% on Mara. I'm going to enjoy, just let those ride. And I don't know if I'm even going to be doing a lot of selling today. Got $100,000 in cash. Probably going to just buy Tesla with that. But again, this is kind of the difference, right? You can see how I dumped a bunch of Tesla. TSLL's 1%, Tesla's 4%. Part of this is Tesla falling. Again, I was at like 11% 3 weeks ago. And part of it is from it falling. The other part is from me dumping a bunch to buy Metaplanet. And same thing goes again for Similar. Similar got a lot smaller. Part of that is from falling. Part of it is from me dumping some to buy my higher conviction bet. Before actually Similar fell a bunch more, I bought my higher conviction bet Metaplanet. And that's what I'll continue to do. I'll continue to look forward for the things that I believe are going to make me a lot of money in the future. And I'll skim off little bits of the things that are making me a lot of money right now. And I think that's how you're successful. I think it is when you apply those principles that you become somebody who makes a lot of money. And that's what I've done. And that's why I believe, I don't think a lot of people show you any of this, do they? Especially publicly without a firewall, like behind some paywall. But I showed you where I was and how I was in the red in 2019. And I showed you the low of 2020. And then in like May, I quit my job after a pandemic started and everybody was locked in their house. And I turned my profession into this, right? And now I'm at $4.64 million, maybe $5 million today, and shooting for $12 million. That's my low target for this year, guys. My high target is $25 million. And that's actually went up a little bit. So if I hit that, God, I hope you guys share this stuff more. If I hit that and you personally benefit a shit ton, I hope you at least do me the luxury of hitting a fucking like button for 2 seconds or commenting on a post or sharing what I'm bringing. I hope you can do that. All right, real quickly, want to talk about a bunch of things. And I know I haven't gotten too caught up in chat. I'm going to try and do that more in a second. Oh, holy shit. Manny, 100. Thank you, dude. I wasn't looking at chat. Thank you, bro. And thank you for Sick Bots for becoming a member too. Really appreciate you guys a lot. Thank you, Manny. You're a stud, dude. Yeah, I think we're going to witness a minor short squeeze, but let's keep going here. So, a couple things. So I said, this is CNYR. It talks about how China's export growth misses forecast despite tariff truce with the U.S. These guys are hurting. Do you guys know who LC Signs is? The guy who makes fun of like the woke mind virus. He's in China and he sells a bunch of signs. It's kind of funny. He looks sad. He even talked about how their company might end up closing if business doesn't get better. This isn't an isolated incident. This guy actually has the marketing dialed into the U.S. and the West to the nth degree. This is just a sign of the pain that is being suffered in this country that I've been telling you guys has been building up for over a year now. And now I'm telling you something even fucking crazier. I'm telling you that I think Xi Jinping has possibly already been ousted. Yes, Circle IPO is massive. You know what it shows? It shows that the Bitcoin crypto space is well worth investing in the whole fintech, you know, it's well worth investing in, and it shows we're basically starting another IPO cycle, which I'm very excited about. But I think this is crazy. I think Xi Jinping has already been overthrown. We'll talk about that more, but it's either overthrown or he's going to start his war with Taiwan. Either way, though, the money printer is going to go burr. And we already have some evidence of that, right? On June 6th, we had the central bank conduct an outright reverse repo operation, injecting 1 trillion won or 139 billion US dollars into the market. Kind of a big deal. Also, Lee's Real Talk. She came from China. She is so clued in on what goes on. And she doesn't say things like this lightly. She said, for months, I've said Xi Jinping has lost power, and now the signs are undeniable. After disappearing for 2 weeks, Xi reappeared not in a state venue, but inside his private residence in Zhongnanhai, hosting Belarus's president in what was called a family gathering. Rumors that he's under house arrest gained traction, and state media's own footage only strengthened the case. From the quiet sidelining of his allies to the reappearance of officials only after public scrutiny, the message is clear. Xi Jinping is no longer in control. In this episode, I will walk you through the timeline of how Xi's downfall unfolded. You got to realize, in 13 years, he brought this up and then he destroyed it. And he brought it up off the back of others. How do you join the Discord? Actually, if you go into my profile, guys, you could see all that stuff right under here under the pinned post. Just go into it. Any referral links that I have are all down here. So I'm going to try and do this more than like every 2 to 3 weeks. I'm probably doing 2.5 more recently, but I was like a month after a while. But I'm going to try and do it weekly. Trying really hard, guys, to update my portfolio. And then at the same time, I tell you kind of the key things that happened over the week and what my plans are. And then I show you my portfolio allocation. All this is for free. And then I also give you like my Discord so that you don't get fooled. Watch out, guys. There's so many scammers on X. That's why I do verified only for responses. On X, I don't know if there's as many on YouTube anymore, but there's a ton on Discord too that aren't even a part of the Discord that will try and scam you. So just please make sure you're fucking talking to me. Don't give people money. I never ask you for fucking money. People will give tips on here on YouTube. And again, there's referral codes and all the shit that you can do. I used to have tips under my profile, but I stopped doing that too. But if you want to join the Discord, go here to find it. Never go anywhere else because you can't trust it. And then again, referral links for other products. I don't even know if my Tesla one's any good. I think it's stupid that they only give you so many referrals. I know there's a lot of people that keep asking, but I don't even know if you can use them right now. I think you got to use somebody else. But yeah, so everything's in there. So that's where you find it. Again, China's such a horrible place to live, and people glamorize it so much. These are people putting QR codes up on people's homes and businesses so that you can see what their social credit score is. Because you don't want to be too close, guys, to people with a negative social credit score, like the Empire in Star Wars. If you hang out with the bad people, for too long, it will lower your own social credit score. It's kind of like that Black Mirror episode. This is reality in China. So remember, money printer go burr, Xi Jinping probably overthrown, China in the process of collapse. Very dystopian society. Do not look at it and believe that the world is great when you look at China. You doing YouTube Live Monday and Friday? No, Friday isn't really a good day. There's less viewership. And Wednesday and Thursday are really strong points for economic data. Monday can be too. So I might do Fridays every once in a while if there's like a real interesting thing. But a lot of the times when the Fed's going to talk, when you're going to get economic data, all that stuff is happening. Usually like Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. So those would be my big days. Like even right here, right? Like Wednesday. Let's look at what we have. Core inflation data, regular inflation data, some other stuff, but not too much there. But again, inflation data, pretty important right now, right? And then when we look at Thursday, you get like PPI, core PPI, job-related data, a ton of stuff. And then Friday, if we look here, is essentially, Michigan consumer data. But again, I don't know. Nobody shows up on Friday. So I think Monday, Wednesday, Thursday are my days, guys. Whoa, $159.99. You guys are insane. Thank you, Matt. Hey, Jesse, I know you don't need this money, nor do you ever ask for it, but we appreciate everything you do. Love from Australia. Thanks, brother. I do appreciate it very, very much. I'll try and put it back into the effort that we put into this channel. I am a lone person who does this. And you're right, I don't need the money, and it is greatly appreciated, though, because it just lets me know you guys give a shit. And even if you just, again, comment, like, and share. It's not rocket science. If you just click a fucking button, it is super helpful, guys. And it lets the channel and it lets other people know what, I think, and or know what you think about what I think. There we go. That's better. And so, again, thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it. All right, so we talked about China a little bit. We talked about Tesla a little bit. We're going to jump into Bitcoin. We got Meta Planet. We got some U.S. economic stuff. And real quickly, before we even do that, I want to talk about investment basics here. I want to reiterate this point and just really bring it home. I think emotion is the number one killer of portfolios for opportunity loss and, again, just bad decision-making and selling at losses instead of at large gains. I said it's so easy for red to make people give up when the fundamentals tell them otherwise. Somebody said, well, the fundamentals for Tesla are bad. Look at their financials. That's not the fundamentals, you dipshit. Fundamentals are the fundamentals. Financials are different. Financials give you a view into how the financials are doing at this point in time. Can you derive some fundamentals from that? Maybe, but it's the robotaxi event that's really the fundamental. It's getting this deployed. It's the spinning up of energy in China. It's all of the things behind the scenes that are the real nuts and bolts of what's going on in the company. And then you look towards the financials to see those fundamentals reflected. The financials are not the fundamentals. Understand that there's macro, the base layer of everything that's happening right now, and that includes global liquidity, huge factor in whether or not things go up or down. And then at the same time, you have geopolitical risk, you have the fundamentals of companies and investments, which are the most important thing for that. And then you have the financials that let you know if you're right over time. And then you have the technicals that can help you find entries and exits. And you don't go all in and out because that's fucking stupid. There's rare times you want to do that. Very rare times. There's times like with Tesla, there's some times where it's more apparent than others, right? I would argue that when Tesla went from split adjusted $9, $10 a share in basically the beginning of 2020 to 412 November of 2021 over a period of 2 years, that you went up 40x, that maybe, just maybe, that was an opportunity to sell and maybe even go all out, right? And Jeremy did do a good job selling up here. A lot of his portfolio. I've actually got to give him credit for that. I think me, Kevin did too. But then they just lost their way. They just lost their way, and it's sad. Anyway, don't be the emotional investor. Be the one who's happy and gracious that the world's richest man gave you an opportunity to be rich as well. Dookie Pie, love your name. $2. Thank you very much. I took $2 from my kid's piggy bank. You should build up their investment account and not take it away. But thank you. But so don't be these guys, okay? Don't be these guys. Don't let And again, Amit is a great master debater, but he's very new to Tesla. He's trying to balance his own personal interests with figure, AI robotics, because a friend who offered me positioning into it too, offered him it, and I think he took it up. I don't know. Does Amit actually share his portfolio? I love the guy, but do we actually know what he owns? Do you guys know what he owns and how much he has? I don't even know if he shares that. But again, I think his role is different. I think his role is like news and information and entry-level investing. I think that's kind of the way I look at it. He put $15K into figure. Okay. That sounds about right. Yeah. So without it being in the open market, he's probably doing a lot better than that, I would say right now. But again, he's got to balance that. He's got to balance the fact that he's trying to be a neutral party, because you can't be a good master debater without being a neutral party. And again, he just got props from Elon, so he doesn't want to be seen as a fanboy. He's got a lot of things. I think Amit's a really good dude. I like him. I like him better than Meet Kevin and Jeremy lately, I'll tell you that. He never posted numbers? Yeah, I didn't think so. Nobody does. There's very few people that do what I do. Probably for a reason. All right. Bitcoin. I'm just too ignorant to understand what that reason is. Vivek, $10 trillion Vanguard reports holding $7 billion of Bitcoin exposure. This is wild. I wouldn't argue it's too wild. That's not actually a huge amount, but it's a good start. Anthony Scaramucci. Oh, does this guy hate Trump? Whatever. My bestie, Megan, I don't know if she knows, but she's my bestie. Outside of my wife, she's my bestie. She hates Trump too, and that's all good. It's all good. She has the right to. There's plenty of things that Trump has done wrong. But let's listen to what this man has to say about sovereign wealth funds buying Bitcoin. Not that they're doing a ton of it yet, but that it's coming.
All right, so you go to the institutions, you go to the Middle East, you go to Europe, you go to Asia, you go to all these different places. And when you go there, you talk to lots of institutional investors. You probably more so than many people really have a lot of trust. They tell you what they're thinking. They explain what their views are. What are they saying about Bitcoin right now? Are they all like buying it up and not announcing it yet, or what's going on?
Yeah, so I think they are. I think they are buying it. I think they're buying it on the margin. I don't think it's going to be a gigantic groundswell of buying until we greenlight legislation in the United States. So if you tell me before the end of the congressional term, we've got a stablecoin regulation, we've got guidance for money center banks on how they can custody Bitcoin and other assets, and we have some discussion about the tokenization of stocks and bonds and other assets, then I will tell you that there'll be large blocks of buying, or there are people worth 10, 20, 30 trillion dollars buying $500 million of Bitcoin, buying $1 billion of Bitcoin. Yes. Are people on the margin buying Bitcoin today? Yes. But if you want to see $1 million Bitcoin, that's when somebody at a sovereign says, okay, this is part of the infrastructure of the world's financial services architecture, a result of which I have to own some of this property, I have to own this rail system.
I do agree with Scaramucci. I do agree with him. I think he's right on this. I think he's right. I think sovereigns are gonna come in a robust way once they see. And we've got. Well, we'll cover that in a second. There's more stuff. We'll talk about that in a second. Vivek said Europe's MicroStrategy, the blockchain group, is raising $300 million to buy more Bitcoin. So again, there's some that I don't talk about very much, guys. Let me just pull this up real quick. So this is MetaPlanet. Again, had a great Friday. People are like, guys, this is funny. But again, it operates, it reflects, I should say, how we are as human beings, right? So somebody's like, what's going on with MetaPlanet in Germany today? It's not doing well. It's only up 1.45%. And don't get me wrong, I would love to have it be up another 25% today. I think that would be like over $500,000 for me in a day. So I would love that. But I just want to reflect that this was up like 22% on Friday. And I think in the US, it was up 26%. And Germany's just a laggard. I don't quite know why. But again, maybe when you have a 20%, 25% day, it just might be okay to have just a little bit of delay in performance while other things take the lead. I'm just saying, like it might be okay, right? It might be okay for other things to take the lead. Now let's look real quickly though at this alt BG, and I need to get my own personal in the Discord, guys. I'm gonna add some charts. I'm gonna try and do it today. Oh no, it's not that, is it? I need to find this. I know I have it. Is it AL? What is the fucking ticker? AL? AAT? What's the ticker? Why am I missing this? What's the Bitcoin group ticker, guys? Help me out here. My brain is not working this morning. German market is still trading higher than Tokyo Exchange. Yeah, you have to kind of convert that to dollars too. We got a lot of really good. No, it's not closed, I don't think. I think you're wrong. Let me look here real quick. I got so many things. Right here. No, German markets are open. German markets are open. The FWB. So here, let me just throw this out here, guys. It's really confusing because there's a bunch of different markets that this trades in, Metaplanet. So if you want to see where things are actually trading, look here. So you can see when it's trading in Japan in 2 different markets. I think the PTS, I don't know what the PTS is actually. I know what the TSE is. That's the Tokyo Stock Exchange. I don't know what the PTS is. It's some other kind of exchange that incorporates like after hours trading as well. But yeah, Germany's open and PTS is open, it says, for Tokyo, sitting at 1612, which is higher than the 1544 yen that Metaplanet was showing as a close in Tokyo. So again, bunch of different markets. Look at that. The Bitcoin. Oh, that's the ADE one. Okay. There's so many, guys. There's so many. Even my bookmarks. I have to look at Strategy Tracker and start like balancing these better because there's just so many. Oh yeah, no. Oh, that's the blockchain group. That's the one I was thinking of. All right, well, again, so many treasury companies coming in. I think this dilution will be a little bit weird with the fact that there's so many coming in. Whoa, chat's moving quick today, guys. I'm trying to keep up here. I'm trying to find that note that I just looked at. No, it's a holiday for us. Oh, in Germany. Oh, it is? Oh, okay. So it is a holiday today in Germany. Oh, so that doesn't actually mean anything. Well, you know what? It's got to be pre-market then. It's got to be pre-market. This is another way, guys. I'm gonna give you guys a couple of places where you can kind of keep track of Metaplanet. So this is another one. Oh, it doesn't like that one. Oh, it's too many characters. I can't do it. But yeah, there's a bunch of different ways to track Metaplanet. And the different exchanges. And again, you can see that this is like NISA eligible. NISA is great. It's what gives them the tax deduction, or I should say the lower tax obligation for trading this stock versus like a straight up Bitcoin ETF or something like that. There's really good stuff here. I've got a lot to get through. I've got so many trackers right now, guys. I got so many things I'm trying to do. I haven't even looked at Tom Lee and what he's talking about today. Haven't even done that. Let me see. Maybe we'll even watch some of that together. I'll put a vote out there if you guys want to watch Tom Lee's video today. I don't do that very often because, again, this is something where this is a service that people pay a lot of money for. But I do every once in a while because I think Tom is super insightful. And again, I like to give back to my channel. And all I ask in return is that if you can afford it, that you subscribe to his service because it's well worth it. I think I've gotten about 50 referrals over to him so far that are active right now, which is probably why he lets me get away with showing some of his videos. So should we watch Tom Lee's video from today? All right, I'm going to start that poll. Let's see. We got Mark Newton talking in there for sure. So I don't even know if we got a Tom Lee yet. This is from Friday. Let me refresh. Have they put anything out today? Maybe they're just chilling. Powering up, chart of the day, good morning. Last week we wrote about IPOs did not explode out of the gate as anticipated after President Trump. Okay, so maybe they don't have a new video. Maybe my poll just is dead in the water. We do have Mark Newton. He's a really good technician. Maybe we'll do that if people. Yes, you guys agree. You know what? We'll listen to Tom then, because Tom is actually he's brilliant. So let me kill this poll. Let me see how many people voted. 68. That's enough. We'll say that's representation. Let's see real quickly here. It's only 5 minutes. Let me do 1.25x here on Mark Newton. You guys can get a little bit of a glimpse into one of the technicians that works for FS Insight. He's brilliant. Again, this company is great. I don't do this very often, but I do it every once in a while because I want people to see the product that these guys offer. Here we go. Yes, definitely all BG. We'll do all BG. We'll do a lot of those. And Bitcoin miners.
Hello, everybody. This is Mark Newton. Today is the 6th.
Oh, and real quickly before we get here, I just need to make sure I haven't missed any economic data because sometimes data comes out at 7:30 and I'm all over the place this morning. So let me see. Let's go back up here. We get wholesale inventories at 9. So today's really just a nothing burger. Let's go back to Mark.
Of June, Friday afternoon, and thanks for tuning in. We did have a pretty good matter of follow-through in equities today, and as discussed the other day, we have managed to rebound, and now this looks to be in the final stages of this push-up just from late May as part of a larger rally that started back in early April. So
he's referencing the S&P and just the broader markets.
So ideally, S&P would get up to 6065 or 6077, but in general, it does seem like we're getting closer to an area of resistance that should cause a stalling out in prices as of next week. I do
think that's possible. I think that's probably right.
Expect that we can churn or consolidate
for the S&P
a bit between likely next week and June expiration. So I'm not expecting a new high right away, but do think that we have some backing and filling that happens, but it does prove minor, not the start of a large sell-off. So potentially 3 to 5% between probably the 10th and the 23rd of June. And then we start a more robust rally that does take us back up to new all-time highs into August. So overall, there are reasons to be optimistic. I took the time today to take a look at some of the cycles of NVIDIA, which I thought were very interesting. And we see that just going into the last
TT said, Jesse, can you talk about SEP21 and ASST and how they compare to similar, et cetera? Yeah, I'll try and do some of that. And I need to do more research anyway. There's so many Bitcoin treasury companies coming out. SEP21, huge position. We'll look at them in a little bit too and how they compare in size of Bitcoin holdings. Very aggressive. I love Jack Mallers. He's the shit. There's so many of these, but we'll talk about them. We'll talk about similar. We'll talk about all this stuff.
Latter part of June into August that we still have a very strong move underway in NVIDIA. So I think that's really interesting.
Very good point too, guys. Sorry, Mark. Very good point from Sean, guys, in chat. He said if we can get the China trade deal finalized today, we're gonna fly. There's talk about the U.S. and China working today to try and establish a trade deal. I think again, there's a lot of pressure being put on Xi. I don't even know if he's in power anymore. China desperately needs a deal. Bitcoin, I think that Mark Newton is right here. I think that we will see probably a topping in the S&P and the NASDAQ and some of the indices in the broader markets in the United States this week. But I think that is just giving Bitcoin, as you can see in the bottom right corner, an opportunity for its turn to take off. And you'll find that in bull markets, you'll see the jockeying back and forth between Bitcoin and broader markets as they feed off of each other in upward momentum. I don't know if that looks really good. So we'll be seeing some of that, I think, this week. And that's why we're at almost 108K probably in a couple seconds here.
And when you look at the path between really late August, September into year end, it tends to be a lot choppier. So it doesn't mean that we have to have a big decline, but it says the majority of the move really should happen really between now and the middle to the latter part of August. So we'll see if that plays out as expected. We are seeing the start of semiconductor stocks actually improving in relative strength versus software. So we look at relative relationships of the SOXX, the iShares semiconductor ETF versus the IGV, the software, and we do see pretty pronounced breakouts, which started really last June, where semis peaked out, and a lot of this is extraordinary semi weakness that is now starting to show semi strength. And so just in the last couple of days, you've seen very good breakouts of things like Micron, which I think are really encouraging towards the semi picture, but do bode well for this stock to show a lot more strength in the months to come. I think that's very positive. We also saw Broadcom, of course, break back out to new all-time highs, and now it's giving us a little bit of a pullback to buy into today. And of course, NVIDIA, and those would really be some of the top stocks to consider. TSM, of course, also within the group, still showing very impressive strength. So I think you have to be a little selective, but increasingly semis are beginning to show more and more evidence of strengthening relatively. And so I think that's a good sign for semiconductors within technology to strengthen, as well as, specifically they could be a big outperformer just versus the software sector. The other thing I noticed was that crude oil actually, up about 2% today. We did effectively break out of a minor reverse head and shoulders pattern. So this does suggest that we could potentially see a little bit of upside in crude. Now, I have been negative on energy. I still think that energy should be an underweight, but for the near term, I do sense that we could have a little bit of follow through, specifically just based on this pattern since April. I also suspect that rates are up 12 basis points today, a big move, and this also might be able to persist in the near term. We've actually gotten up to test the area of the breakdown, which is right near 452. Above that would take us up to right near.
Interesting comment on rates. I just want to look at that super quick here. Let's look at the CME Fed Watch tool in regard to the Fed lowering rates. Again, Trump is putting a lot of pressure on the Fed. There are some comments that I want to talk about in that. We'll look at those in a second. The chance of lowering rates in June on the 18th, roughly a little over 1 week, is non-existent. For July, it's low, 14.5%, and it looks like right now it's quietly turning into September when we're going to lower rates. That's a 52%. I'm actually starting to believe that's going to happen. That it's going to be September, maybe July if things are really falling apart. But we're kind of somewhere in the middle. So I actually think it's going to be September. You've got to remember, in May of next year, we're going to have a new Fed chairman. I do think we're going to get a shadow Fed. Trump's probably announcing that maybe this week or next. And that shadow Fed will start to work against the interests of Jerome Powell, basically coming out after he speaks and being like, yeah, hey, Jerome, you're a dipshit, and this is why. So you're going to start to get some change in dialogue, and I think that will help with the narrative of the fact that we should lower rates. I don't think it's going to be aggressive, and I don't think this is bad at all. So let's get back over to what Mark's saying. Almost done here too.
Near 462, that's more important. So I don't expect to move above 4.8, but right now we're getting a counter trend move, and just based on many interest rates around the globe starting to turn up, a lot of the haven trades have started to deteriorate. I think that's really, really interesting. And honestly, in the short run, this can allow for yields to push a little bit higher as the dollar bounces a little bit, and also just seeing equities potentially pull back during the same window over the next couple of weeks before we start to turn back higher in treasuries. So I think that in general, equities between now and August should have push back up to new all-time highs, and also yields pull back in that scenario. But for the time being, we're seeing a little bit of a different move today than we've seen in recent weeks with regards to yields on the heels of today's jobs number, and it's certainly worth paying attention to. That's all for today, folks. Thank you, and we'll talk more about this on Monday. We'll see if we do, in fact, start to stall and reverse, which is what I think happens next week.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much, Mark. Appreciate you, sir. And appreciate the Fun Strat FS Insight crew because they're awesome. So again, you guys can find a referral link, I think even in YouTube, but also on X under my pinned post. Vincent, thank you very much for the $1.99, brother. My Japanese brother from another mother. I'm making an assumption here. Are you Japanese? Are you? I don't know. Anyway, Ted, is there any data coming out today? Not really. No, not really. Nothing too exciting. It's probably going to be more about like China trade deal is what we're going to be looking at today. We have wholesale inventories and consumer inflation expectations. I don't know that there's any real weight behind either one of these, and that's like 9 and 10 o'clock in the morning here. So I don't think there's anything really of interest that we should care too much about. And again, I've got memberships too to other stuff, guys. I've got memberships to Capital Wars. I've got just a lot of things that I subscribe to in order to try and get it to where you guys get the best. Let's look here real quick. So we got the blockchain group. Let's is it ALTBG? Is that the right one? Is that the other one? If you guys could just again in chat tell me. I don't even know if I have this one. Do I not have this one? I'm gonna make a copy real quick and do a share. I need to get this stuff imported into the Discord, so I'll be doing that today as well. Oh, no, I just did the same thing. Let me real quickly. I don't know what that was about. Is something happening? ALTBG. I got like a little dingy ding sound. I don't know if that's from my phone or what. Thank you to the 1,053 people that are here. I appreciate you guys very much. It's LGBTQ plus. Thanks, man. You guys are great. All right, let's. You guys are insane. Hey, have you guys been watching the riots? I think it's probably not a great place to have a barbecue, on top of a burning Waymo. Probably not great for the environment either. I don't know if anybody actually told all the liberals that. Maybe they don't care. Maybe they don't actually care about the environment. That could be possible too. We've got Alt BG. Again, this is one that is based out of Europe. Where is this based out of? Which country, guys? Can you tell me? Let's look up here. Does it say? Euronext. Euronext. So it's just within the euro itself, the EU, and it's a $445 million cap. It is run a lot. But if this is the market that you have access to, then I can see why people are piggybacking off of it. And when I say it's run a lot, I mean comparatively, what does that even mean anymore? When you compare it to Metaplanet, that's also run a lot. It means a little more, though, because Metaplanet, since about April, about 6 weeks ago, has run, I think in the United States, over 600%. This thing ran 1,241. So it's quite a bit higher, honestly. But let's do some quick stat review here. So let's look real quickly at like a Metaplanet operating at a basic NAV of 6.7 right now and a diluted NAV of 8.462. With a market cap size, what are we at here for size? Market cap of 6.42 billion versus, I don't even know why they have GameStop in here. What a waste of energy. An Alt BG that is sitting at a market cap of, let's see here real quick. Where is it? 0.59 billion. So you got something that's like 1/10, 1/11 the size, right? And they're aggressively stacking Bitcoin. I don't know. I think this is kind of interesting. I think this is a good play if you're in the European market. They need to just keep stacking as much as possible. And I think all these are really going to do that. And right now, let's just look at Bitcoin Treasuries. Let's jump a little bit here. We're going to jump back and forth because, again, I want to just show you guys some stats that I think are really amazing. This right here in light bluish, what do you even call that color? Aqua. This color right here is private companies, and then the purplish color is purplish blue is going to be public. And again, I just want to show you the comparison here. 263,000 in private Bitcoin bought, 364 in public. So that's what, 627,000 Bitcoin. And that, what time frame is that? That is October 21st. So that is probably almost 7 months ago, something like that, 8 months ago, almost. And then right now, 289,000 private, 813,000 public. The rate of growth that we're seeing here, especially from public companies, is absolutely fucking insane. And my projections are about 8 months out, we'll have seen a doubling in the accumulation of Bitcoin. And guys, I don't know if you need this reminder. There's 21 million Bitcoin that will ever be. And most of those have already been mined and deployed. And when you factor in lost, stolen Bitcoin, ones that just aren't retrieved anymore, that number is probably closer to 16 billion, 17 billion. And if that number is true, and calculating in, new issuance and people losing more, private custody, public, all this stuff, then I would argue that public and private ownership of, 1.1 million Bitcoin is a pretty substantial figure. And when you're adding 600,000 between private and public companies over a period that's a little longer than a half a year is a pretty substantial figure. This pressure will push us a lot higher. What are the chances that Tesla buys Bitcoin? I actually think they're getting higher by the day. If you would have asked me that even a week ago, I would have said, probably not too great. But after the spat about the budget with Elon and Trump, I would argue that it's becoming a lot more apparent that you need a store of value that can't be easily debased. And that is Bitcoin. That is the best one, and it's something they already own. And it's something their financial department actually believes in. That's why they did it. So I don't know. And again, they sold a while ago. They sold like half their position or something like that. But I think now the case is just glaring that Bitcoin is going to be a strategic asset, and that Tesla should be buying some. And I think they do it this cycle. And by cycles are going to get weird. I won't go into all that right now, but cycles are going to get really strange in the not too distant future. But again, so I think this company, this Alt BG, I just want to say it's really overextended. It's really overextended, double that of Metaplanet. But if their strategy is aggressive purchasing of Bitcoin, then I could see these guys doing even better. And I want to look at something else. So the Bitcoin strategy, we got this one right here, right? But let's go back because there's other stuff too. Let's look at the entities that are holding Bitcoin, wherever that is. Let me see if I can find that. This is this one. This is the home one. Where's the one? Down here. Okay. So we can see who owns Bitcoin, right? What their market cap is and what their total holdings are. MicroStrategy is very much in the lead. I don't know if this includes the 1,000 that they just bought, but it very much in the lead. But look at the rate of growth. When you own 581,000 Bitcoin, does another 1,000, is that really that impactful on your rate of growth? I would argue no. But if we look down here, look at Mara. Mara has 49,000, biggest Bitcoin miner by far. Then there's this new player, SEP, XXI, which we'll look at in a little bit. And they're sitting at 37,230. Very strong position in third place. I will argue this. I believe Metaplanet, that is way down here right now, will be at least fourth, if not third, by the end of the year. It depends on the aggressiveness of XXI. But I don't see anybody else getting to that position that quickly. I just don't. I don't think they're that serious. GameStop is definitely not even worth the time to devote on that one. Now, there's others that have much smaller positions of Bitcoin holdings that we've seen jump into the market recently. And let's just find where is, so here's Similar. Similar is actually pretty high up the list too, right? If we look here real quick, Similar's at 4,449. They've got a much lower NAV, but they're doing their darndest to buy Bitcoin even with that. And again, Similar's up almost 4% in pre-market. I do believe we're finding a bottom. I'm going to throw that chart up real quick here too. And if you guys have more questions on AltBG, let me know. Is really aggressively buying. And that's great. I think that's what you want to be doing at this stage. I think the players that do the marketing for buying Bitcoin and that do it and just do it relentlessly are going to excel dramatically. I do think Similar will be on that list, but I need to see more marketing. And I've been harassing Natalie Brunell and Eric Similar to try and get them to do more marketing, because I think now is the time to really grab the bull by the horns. But I do think, look at this down here. We were underneath the peak volume for this company since the beginning of time, right? Like this is the peak volume. I'm going back to, well, for what matters, going back to all the way, all of it, really, probably the entirety of this company. The peak volumes, we're above them right now, okay? We're above them. And you can't see it too well, but it's right here. We're right here at 34.16. And so I will argue this. Again, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. I would argue that we're building an explosive base in Similar, and that if Similar can do a good job with marketing, because you need marketing, Metaplanet has been key about this. MicroStrategy, key. Incredible voice of wisdom, creating new products all the time. And every quarterly report giving you a new perspective into why his company is going to be so rich in the future and why they're going to be one of the biggest companies on earth. It's beautiful. And Metaplanet, Dylan LeClaire's relationship with Michael Saylor definitely holds true. Dylan is a brilliant man who has personally saved me hundreds of thousands of dollars because he taught us about rehypothecation and how so many companies were going to go under in the last cycle. And he was spot fucking on 90% of it. So he is brilliant. He is brilliant. He is very insightful. He's young, but don't discount him. And then you have Simon, the CEO of Metaplanet, who is also brilliant, a Harvard graduate, a previous derivatives trader. Their narrative, I think, is the strongest. Then short term, I think Alt BG is the second. And then I think another company that's going to come in hot. And again, I think I would actually say that the third or second, maybe, along with Alt BG, is going to be SEP. But SEP is a little weird because they already got a lot of Bitcoin. They haven't converted to their new company yet. There's just a lot of stuff going on with that one that's kind of keeping me. And again, I can't even or I can buy that one. I can't buy alt BG. But yeah, so there's a lot keeping me away from that one, and I'll need to reevaluate it later. But I do think as far as growers, not showers. I think similar is going to be one. Again, I don't have a huge percentage of my portfolio in here right now, guys. Let's just go back to what that is and look real quickly here. So similar, again, some people, if you're all in on similar, I don't know if that's the right move. I'm like 43% on Metaplanet, and I really only put 22% into it, and it just grew a lot, which is why I'm going to start carving off little pieces. But similar, I'm only at 5. I added a little bit to this last week. I mean, I got out of stock and I created leverage or a multiplier by going into calls that can give me a higher rate of return, where I was devoting essentially less capital to similar last week, but actually giving it to where I have more upside potential. But I don't have my whole portfolio in this, but just a small amount. But I do think this is going to be a good one too. This is one of my favorites. Outside of Metaplanet and MicroStrategy, obviously going to do well. Just again, you have to compare the differences here, guys. I think it's important to note that MicroStrategy is a $102 billion market cap, and that a company like Metaplanet is at, what is Metaplanet right now? Let me look. Let me pull it up over here. And I'll try and get more involved in chat here in a second, guys, too. Metaplanet is sitting at 7 billion. So 102 billion, 7 billion. And again, these guys, their issuance, it's just amazing, and we'll talk about that in a second. I got a lot to talk about with Metaplanet. But then again, a company like Similar. Let's look at Similar. What is Similar sitting at? So it's not 7 billion, right? It's more like Alt BG. Alt BG, what was that one at? Let me jump over here real quick. Alt BG was at a market cap of $590 million, right? Similar is even smaller than that at 367. So again, if these guys stack aggressively, if they're able to get the marketing together with Natalie Brunell, guys, if you don't know Natalie Brunell, geez, what have you been doing with your life? Not only is she an absolutely gorgeous person, but the second you type in NAT, she's at the top of the list. She came from nowhere. She gets Bitcoin about as good as anybody, let alone a woman. And when I say that, I'm not being disrespectful. I'm just saying women make up a very small percentage of people in the finance space, and even more so in Bitcoin. And a lot of them in Bitcoin are just pretty faces. Natalie Brunell is not just a pretty face. She's fucking brilliant, and she's on the board of Similar. So I expect great things.
Today's market prices to maybe do an accounting trick essentially to address the deficit, or no?
No. She's so brilliant. She's so brilliant. And I think that Natalie can be one of these people that really helps this company. When I found out she was on the board, that's when I got really interested in Similar. And so again, I look at Similar as a simmer stew. Maybe it amounts to nothing, but boy, does it sure look like a consolidation that's looking to break higher. And you know what's funny? The volume is so pathetic on this. And I don't say this as nobody, at least they shouldn't. No influencer wants to move a market. But I think I actually moved this market. We talked about this, and again, that is not my intent in any way. But right over here, guys, right over here, we said, I posted about it, and then I talked about it, and we went from 31 and literally a few days, a week, to 49. So the volume on this is just so low, but it's growing. It's growing, and it's getting more dramatic. You can see it here. Non-existent volume, lots of volume, little bit of a lull, lots of volume, little bit of a lull, building levels of volume. I don't even think this is the peak yet. So I do think that there's a narrative here, and I'm excited about it. That's my take. So these are the big ones I think are going to be good. And I accept 21, Jack Mahler's. I gotta do more research there to really understand it. I love Jack. I think Jack is fucking brilliant. He's an OG. He's a very honorable person. He's a good guy. And I trust a lot of what he has to do, what he does and says. Okay, he is the guy who got El Salvador to buy Bitcoin, or at least the participant that made it to where their country could adopt it, and that announced it in a Bitcoin convention. So he's such a good dude. So I'm very interested in that one. I need to do more research on it. But the big plays for me are Metaplanet right now. Similar potentially in the future. MicroStrategy, if you don't care as much about the return, but you just want a great company. the MSTR, the Strike, the Strife, the Stride. These are brilliant products. A lot of people don't understand them yet, which makes me think that we're still going up a lot. But they're just not going to be able to buy as much Bitcoin. But damn it, let me tell you this, guys. When the quarterly earnings come out in MicroStrategy and people see how much fucking money these guys have made on their balance sheet, it's going to be on like Donkey Kong. And do I think that we've consolidated already and that this is pretty much over? Yes, I do. I do. A lot of people are waiting for this on MicroStrategy. They're waiting for the 350s and the 340s, and I don't know that they're going to get it. If we get back above 390, 400 right up here, then it's probably off to the races to test the 438 range again, and then it's off to the races to test the 533 range again. And then again, maybe this cycle, maybe we only get up to 650. Maybe we do better and we get up to the 870s. I think that's probably more likely. I think we're going to overshoot. If you look at Bitcoin, it likes to break past the golden retracement zone, this .618. It likes to do that for bull tops, and we are nowhere near a top. I can show you so many different indicators that just don't give a fuck. How high can Circle go? I haven't really looked at Circle much. We should probably look at it, right? Who else have I promised that I'd look at something and haven't done it? Let's look at miners. Yes, that's a good call. So again, I think MicroStrategy looks really good. Let's put that back and let's pull up a miner. Let's look at Mara. Everybody loves to shit on Mara. And then we need to look at CleanSpark. We need to look at institutional adoption, guys, because I think you guys need to understand this better. So let's look at Mara real quick. We'll go to the weekly. And why am I going to the weekly on this? Because I want to show a few things. I want to show you that magically, we're above peak volumes going back a very, very long time to the 2022 range, right? Maybe even further. Let's just go back here. This is kind of a little harder to see. Lots of share dilution here, guys, which is why this is suppressed so much. But I just want you to see here that this peak volumes going back to the beginning of time here, we are just above those right now in pre-market, and we are set up to launch, okay? This is a cup. This is the handle. The measured move for this alone, this baby move right here, the measured move for it, let me just show you what it is. The measured move for this baby move right over here gets us up to a beautiful level. I'm going to kill this real quick because I think it's just taking up space. And I'm going to kill this real quick too. So here's what's interesting to me. The measured move off of this cup and handle, or depending on how you want to look at it, you could move to the daily time frame. And you could almost call this an inverse head and shoulders. It doesn't really matter. It's like the same shit, right? But the measured move for this gets us to the breakout zone. A breakout zone that really, and it briefly broke up here, but I count this as the breakout zone because we got a touch point. We got a touch point to the downside trying to find support and breaking through. We've got a touch point. We've got a touch point. And then we're looking to do it again for like the 5th time. So this is definitely a breakout line, right? But the measured move, I think in short order, gets this bitch up 62%. And I've got calls that will give me, 6 to 10x multiplier to that. So that's cool, right? 6 to 10x is a move I'd like. And then that's just to get to the breakout. I think the .618 is very attainable. I think the 32... this cycle, and when I say that, I'm talking like the next quarter plus. I think 32 to 43 is very reasonable for Mara. Very reasonable. It's not even crazy. I mean, guys, in March of last year, 16 months ago, we were at 34. So even with share dilution, the amount of Bitcoin that's been hodled and gathered by these guys over that period of time, and we'll finish up with Mara here and probably jump to CleanSpark in a second. We'll also, again, look at Iron, all these others. But let's just do some comparison here to where we were in March of this last year. Let's look at like revenues, right? Let's look at revenues. So Q4 2024, again, we've about flattened there. But this is with Bitcoin. Let's put it this way. Last quarter, Bitcoin was like 78 or 82 or something like that at the end of the quarter. And so that's what everything looks like as far as revenue. It's very weak. Right now, we're nearing 110. That is a huge increase over that period of time. I think we could be 120 to 140 by the end of this quarter, the end of June. What does Q2 look like when we report at the beginning of Q3 if Bitcoin is between 120 and 140, roughly 50 to 80% higher than it is right now, or than it was last quarter, I should say, at the end of that reporting cycle? These revenues will explode higher. The net income will explode higher. All of this stuff will look way, way better, even with, again, some lackluster numbers here on some of Mara. It's going to look way better. And I want to look at CleanSpark. I actually think CleanSpark is a really good looking miner. And we can look at others too. All the miners will float, some better than others. Just waiting for that fat Cypher HPC deal. And that HPC, high performance compute, could be a thing that does really well in the near future. By the way, guys, we got about 19 minutes until the bell tolls. Looking at CleanSpark here, here's what I like about CleanSpark in comparison. Look at their mining hash rate, still going up. Share dilution, look at that. No share dilution Q4 2024 to Q1 of 2025. So these guys are operating off a different narrative, and they've got debt, but the debt, again, is like many years out, right? So the thing I like here is the fact that their revenue continued to grow, even though, because their mining hash rate continued to go up and their efficiencies are so high, their revenue continued to grow, even though Bitcoin just did nothing, has just done nothing since the beginning. And I should have been looking on the other one here too, guys. I should have been looking over here because it was really Q1 of 2024 when things kind of peaked for Bitcoin, and you can see how revenue started to decline. But these guys did a little bit of dilution. They bought Bitcoin at the right times, and again, all right, they bought mining equipment and expanded at the right times. And again, their revenues continued to grow. Mining hash rate continued to grow. They've just such a steady eddy in this one in regard to Bitcoin mining. Operating at a forward PE of 17 screams super cheap to me, especially how much lower that forward PE is going to get when they just blow out earnings in this next quarter. Do I still like ArcG? Yes, I even added January 2027 calls. I'm just adding them further out. When things don't perform well, I add more further out. I actually think ArcG is getting ready to explode higher. We can look at that in a little bit. But I want to pull up real quickly. I want to look at something else under CleanSpark super fast before we go further. We still got more Bitcoin stuff to talk about. Let me actually just zoom out and get my bookmark here. I want to talk about institutional ownership, and CleanSpark is not on an island here. They're all looking this way, guys. Just look at this. Cantonese Cat posted this, my buddy, June 7th. It shows CleanSpark institutional ownership. And I said, well, retail was selling Bitcoin miners. Institutions are buying in large quantities. So let's just look at this. So when we peaked in 2024 on price over here, right at the beginning, end of 2023, beginning of 2024, we were seeing shares of ownership of institutional investors sitting around 93,000 shares. And now we're over like 217, 18,000. So we've seen like 120% increase in institutional ownership over the last 15, 16 months on CleanSpark. And a lot of the other miners look this way too. So again, while you're worrying because you're missing out on opportunity and jumping to the next thing, or some people are, what are we seeing here? We're seeing this, right? We're seeing this. We're seeing institutional ownership increasing. Can we look at Hood? Yeah, we can look at Hood. We can look at Archie. We can look at all of these. Give me 1 second, though. I want to pull up CleanSpark real quick and just show you how we're doing here. So again, I would argue cup, handle, measured move, actually much higher. Let's say this. Let's say the measured move for this one actually gets us to our second breakout zone, because I'm going to argue even conservatively right here that this is the breakout move. And so this is the conservative breakout move. And again, the June, July calls, people have asked about those. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. But I do think this. I think resistance kicks in really good up here. And I think our measured move gets us up to about 16, which is a good number. And then we have a little bit of a grind here, because this is a lot of time, many, many months, half a year plus of just grinding here, trying to establish a base and go higher only to break down. So I do think that this could be a little bit tougher. Might not be a bad idea when we get in the 16 range to take a little bit off the table. This could have, CleanSpark short interest is huge. Jesse, what is that website? What website? The short interest one? I don't even know off the top of my head. Maybe somebody knows in chat. Cantonese Cat might know. Let's ask Cantonese Cat. Cantonese Cat's my buddy. He owes me a little bit too, because when he got his account hacked and had over 20,000 subs, 25,000 or something, he needed help getting his stuff built back up, and I helped him with it. And he is at 38,200. I don't want to take too much credit though. His great work is what helps him get here. So again, CleanSpark I think looks great. I think it's a good opportunity. I think when we get in this range over here, you got to take a little bit off the table, but I do think that we'll test up and we'll get above this range right about here at this fib level. If we get above like the 17, 18, turn that into support, I think it's an easy launch to 24 and probably a top around the 30s, maybe even into the 40s if it overshoots. So I think, again, just massive amounts of upside. 262%, not even, what is it? So my high, that's not even my high. My high is probably up here. I should probably actually reflect that too. But my high objective for this is my low to mid. I should say mid. Let's say mid. 220%. If CleanSpark gets to 32, I can 10x that. That's 200. That's 2,200% for people who aren't paying attention, or a 21x. Don't Ortex do something? Yeah, they do, and I had them for a while, but I just didn't really use it. Maybe I'll end up adding that again, though. Again, you guys help fund me. I didn't have any revenue at all until this last year, not calendar year, but year. And now, again, today, I think you guys gave me 300 just in this chat, which doesn't happen every day, but again, it's a lot of money. So I'm making a lot more than I used to. And so I should probably give back. So maybe I need to get Ortex or something like it again. If it's the best, if people know of better ones, please let me know. All right, real quickly. So Hood, somebody asked about Hood. I do want to pull up Hood. I actually had a post about Hood recently, and then I'll get back to the Bitcoin stuff here. Let me see if I have it. I don't know if I bookmarked it. If I didn't, I think I put it in my predictions. Let's just go there. Hood. So I don't love Hood right now, but I could be wrong, and it could do just like, again, what it could totally pull a Palantir. You never know. I do think Hood can double still. I don't know if it does that now. It's down 3.54% in pre-market, so it's kind of doing what I said it was going to do. It's doing what I said it was going to do over here. It's dropping. I do believe support starts to kick in the 60s, about 65 level. But again, this did what I said what it was going to do, right? If we go over here, I said this, right? When it was $10, I told you were going to make a shit ton of money. And I made 1,800% off of this because of options. And so on December of 2023, when nobody else outside of Arnie and then later Amit, but Arnie, really, he's the one that gave it to Amit too, right? Like Arnie was the guy who sold me on it, and then I started posting about it, and then I think Amit came on later. But Arnie was the real MVP here. If you don't follow him, follow him. But I said here, I go, guys, we're going up. I go, Robinhood still looks like it's crushing it today with double-digit gains, at least until you zoom out and look at how far away from where it was in its previous all-time highs. And then I told you where I thought it was going to go, which was $85. And then what did we do? We got to, I guess it was 78, just a little bit underneath that. And now that's the golden retracement zone based upon this level right here. So this didn't exist yet. So to be fair to my $85 target, we didn't have this new trend-based fib extension because it wasn't history yet. It hadn't happened. But now I think getting back down to 65 doesn't seem unreasonable. I think this is one of the best companies, best exchanges out there, and it's the only credit card I use anymore. Is my gold card. So I really like Hood still, even though I think it's going to go down. It's just not asymmetric for me right now. Let's see here. Dario said, Jesse, what's your strategy going into November and the new year? I'm hoping by that time, Bitcoin has hit 140 to 160,000. I've made an average of 5x on my Bitcoin investments, if not 10x. If I make 5x, I've got 2 million in Metaplanet alone, right? So if I made 5x, then I'm sitting at my high-end target probably of $25 million in my portfolio, just based upon Bitcoin investing alone. That's what I'm hoping for by November. And if that happens, again, if we get to the 140 to 160,000 range, I will delever. I will probably be out of all the miners, at least out of all the options, right? Probably be out of all the miners. Probably be dipping my toes into ARGT pretty heavily, my Argentinian fund, because of Javier Milei and everything he's doing for his wonderful country. I'll be putting more money into some of my other favorite things that I think are going to take off, like Arc Genomics. I didn't talk about the Kathy Wood interview. I should probably send you guys a link of that. It was really good. It gets me even more excited about CRISPR technology and what it's been doing to cure diseases right now, to alter people's genetic code, to take out the abnormalities that are causing all kinds of things like cancer in the not too distant future. And AI will help us accelerate that even more. So I'm very excited about the genomic space. Probably put money in there. Putting more money into Tesla, obviously. And there's other investments that I'll probably be looking at too. But I'll be, and I think Strife will probably be an investment that I put money into. Maybe TLT, but honestly, our government looks so shit right now with what Trump's doing too. It just doesn't look like we're on a sustainable path. So I don't know how TLT can perform well. And I'm actually starting to reevaluate my thoughts on bond yields going higher. Because I do believe, we'll look at something in a second here, that if we do really push hard for rates to come down before the market thinks they should, then I think yields will go higher in bonds. And so I can't even love TLT. But if we fix a bunch of stuff and we do the rescission process in government after the reconciliation bill, the big beautiful bill that will pass in some degree, and it will give people massive tax incentives, and it's very pro-growth. It's just very pro-debt too. After all that sends me up in maybe the 20 million range, the 25 million range, maybe higher. I'll be buying a lot of these other things. I'll be buying Strife. I'll maybe be looking at TLT for a dividend or something else. I'll be buying our Argentinia's fund. I'll be buying Arc Genomics fund. I'll be investing more and more into Tesla, getting ready for the robotics and autonomy. And maybe there's some other things. Maybe Palantir. Maybe it's time for Palantir. I definitely want to, even though there's a high valuation on Anduril, I want to get Anduril. And so there's a lot of things. I think we have to prepare for war. So Palantir, Anduril, I think other things. So that's kind of my game plan, man. It's kind of my game plan. Yeah, time to buy ArcG again. I own so much fucking ArcG. I've got 5,100 plus contracts for January. I've got 4,300 for June of 2026, and I've got 325 for January of 2027. I'm down $500,000 on my contracts, but they offer such a crazy fucking asymmetric return. And between all of my accounts, I've got about 330,000 in them as of today, that I think I could do really well off of ArcG. And let's just look at ArcG real quick. We'll use this as a segue. So Arc Genomics has spent over 1,600 days from its high. It is currently still down 79%, almost 80% from its high 1,600 days ago. 375 days in a year. 65, whatever. Sorry, my bad. That's a lot of years, guys. That's a lot of years. And this is the end of the cycle, right? This is the end of the cycle, the economic cycle that people talk about all the time. You've got the disbelief, just everything dystopian, the world has come to an end, all the way up to euphoria and the blow off top. Then you have the crush. You have the fact that people just don't believe in this anymore, and they're not even talking about it, and they're definitely not willing to risk their reputation in buying this. I am, because I'm not a one-trick pony like some influencers. So I'm betting all the way out to January of 2027, and I'll probably bet out till June 2027, and I'll make a fortune off of this because I can get 10x plus the underlying. And if this thing really can move like I think it can, anywhere between the 50s and 60s over the next 2 years, I will make, I don't know, $5 to $10 million maybe. It's kind of what I'm thinking. Just for this one. My goal, guys, in the next 3 to 5 years is to have over $100 million. And then my goal within 10 years is to have over $1 billion. Modest. I know. Ted, how do I access it? Doesn't show up in my German broker, John. Oh, Strife? I don't know if you have access to Strife under a German brokerage. So you might not. these are definitely available in the U.S. markets, both Strike and Strife. Strife is a 10% dividend. It is is it the highest level of repayment right now, or is that Stride? I don't even know. It might be Stride, but it doesn't matter. For retail, it's Strife. Just watched Jesse on 2.4x speed, and now I'm catching up. Sounds like a different person. Yeah, I talk fast. I try to talk slow actually. So, but on 2.4x, that's a lot. Alonis, finally TLT with Trump announced his choice soon and rate cuts. It's time to start picking up some. Yeah, but again, if we get forced rate cuts, we'll probably see yields go higher, and then it could be time to get some more TLT. TLT, I'm super glad I sold out of it because it did not perform well, and I got out at the right time because, again, this could be a W bottom. This could be a W bottom, but so far it still just looks like shit. And for bond yields, these are horrible. Now, again, you get the benefit of the dividend, right? Which is yielding about 3.92%, a little less than 4%. And we are at levels that go back to its inception in 2002. 4 minutes to the bell. 4 minutes to the bell. So, but maybe this plays down for a while. If the U.S. economy can't get its shit together, which I think we can. I think Scott can grow our debt quicker than we create it. I still have faith that Elon is wrong and that we can do the right thing. But again, maybe I put $1 million into this. Maybe I put $2 million into it if I've got 20. Probably $1 million, probably like 5% portfolio as a dividend maker because I still have a lot of other stuff I believe in. And then maybe some money in a couple million in cash in a money market. I think I can give myself a couple $100,000 a year in revenue, and then with a couple $100,000 that I'm making from all my socials, I think $400,000 to $500,000 a year in revenue seems pretty realistic as far as just revenue, and maybe it's a little bit more than that with Strife or something like that. I don't know. Cookie Monsters. Anyone selling ticks for the Musk and versus Besant steel cage match? Nah, just noise. I don't actually even think they hit each other. I think that's bullshit. Let's get to the bell, though, guys. Where have I lost my bell? Is my bell over here? Oh, I got to sign in. Give me 1 second. Oh, no, I don't. Okay. Let's see what Dipshit Kramer has to say over the next 2 minutes while we get ready for the bell to ring. And while that's happening, I'm just going to real quickly show you guys what pre-market looks like for the broader indices. And this is not pre. I think this is performance over the year. Let's go to pre. So pre-market Tesla down 2.49%. Loving that. I hope it drops more. I hope it drops more, guys. Almost 3% now, it looks like, in pre-market. And so this is a little delayed. I can't get it any quicker. I pay for all the services to get it as fast as I can. NVIDIA up, but really kind of a flat market on the day. Again, China news, potential trade deals coming. I see Strife heading in the upper 120 range as Bitcoin current trend now at 22%, but could double 30, 40%. I think it could go up a lot. It will come down a lot really fast. We saw that already, right? So Strife and Strike have been very much bought into. And you could see how hard it crashed. Look at this. Look at that 1 day return, guys. So in 1 day, again, people are using this as a better version of a bond. I think that's very, very true. But they're buying it in at such an aggressive rate that there was almost an 8% drop in 1 fucking day. That's kind of shitty, right? If you're getting 10% a year in returns off the money you put in and you bought the top of this, you got crushed. But again, it's already back up here. There's massive demand for these products, and I don't see that going away. And again, dividend yield right now, it says 9.68%, so a little bit of underperformance, but very nice. Let's get back over, though. I'm missing the bell. I'm talking too much. Here we go.
Automatically replicate the strategies of top-performing investors. So this has captured the interest of the Robinhood crowd. This whole new element of younger persons brokers must make the older people's firms tremble. Yeah, because this is where they're going to go, and they don't really have any interest in the other places. They don't feel the other places take them seriously. People want, we're actually in Hamptons, so I don't know how many days are. I think they want to see what the tariff situation is. If we had tariffs clarified, I think we'd see a lot of deals. But right now, we don't know what the EPS is going to be.
Let's get the opening bell here on the CNBC Real.
Lionsgate and Bowman. You know what I love seeing? I love seeing people ringing the bell and new IPOs and just all the stuff. It seems like these markets are really starting to pick up. Let's go back to the stock heat map. So again, Tesla not starting off super good. I got to buy some. Shit. 1 sec. All right, 1 sec. We're going to let Kramer do some talking here. I got to buy some, guys. I got to buy some. That's one of the things I was going to do this morning.
Take over a year to actually complete it. Went through a lot of the details earlier, including, of course, things that were not expected, namely a tender for a lot of their bonds. They have $34 billion in total debt, but they're borrowing $17.5 billion to go tender for a lot of their bonds at discount. Another component I failed to mention moments ago was the 20% or up to 20% ownership that Global Networks is going to have in the streaming and studio business, at least at the outset of the deal after it closes. The expectation is, though, they will dispose of that quickly, and I'm told for tax purposes it makes sense in order for them to do so over what may be the first year. But that also acts almost like cash. You sell it, and you were able to pay down debt with it, so it's another deleveraging exercise, Carl, there, which is where so much of the focus, of course, these last 3 years has been.
All right, I think
Soul
they reiterated
up 7.32.
Adjusted EBITDA for 25,
wow.
right?
Yes.
1.3 billion. Some comments from
the
call,
streaming service,
right.
yes.
Some comments from the call about efficiency from Gunnar, and no direct mention of layoffs, but you have to imagine that'll be a priority.
And David, what are they trying? Are they going to try to get the longer debt? I mean, they're going to go for the 2052s.
I
and
think they go across the board,
2062s?
Jim, but the longer dated debt is the one trading at obviously larger
Big
discounts.
discount.
Yeah.
What a win if you own some of that stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's just a great thing. You can flip that and be really happy today.
And that tender, again, this is on the fixed income side. That happens that's
right.
happening.
Wasn't that kind of the thing that you didn't count on? Because
yes.
this has been so talked about.
Yes, the potential split has been talked about for a long time.
All right, right now, guys, I bought another 12,000 in TSLL and looking to do more. Give me a second here. I just got to switch accounts. And then I'll get this posted probably after the market open is done on both Discord and X. So you guys get it a little bit earlier here. What else did he say? Damn, Tesla. What else did he say? How low do you think Tesla drops before the robotaxi launch? You think the stock run? I don't know. I gave for subscribers on X, guys, you can literally see what I said. I think 250 to 265 is really good range for Tesla right now as far as a purchase level. And when I look over here, again, it's just, here's the chart. Could we drop further? We're down 4%. Heck yeah, we could. Maybe we even get down to here at the 269 level. Maybe we drop down to here at the 250 level, where on the weekly time frame we hit the 100 and 200 moving average. These are very strong levels of support. We could do all of that stuff, or we could just stop where we are. I don't give a shit much either way. I plan on buying a bunch today. How's that for a rhyme? All right, so let me see. I'm going to give probably another 6,000. Sure. All right, so it's going to be about 7,000-ish plus shares that I bought today. Should I let it go a little bit further? Maybe. I do like to buy in the bottom. Maybe I'll do 3,000. Let's see, that's $30,000. That seems fair. So I bought $42,000, $420. Nice number. Let's see if it goes further. Nah, it's not going to. Fuck it. I'm just going to go in. So I'll have over 325,000, I think, today, guys, sitting in TSLL and Tesla, which is a good number, I think. I feel like that's a good number. I'm going to do like another 7,000. Is that right? Or is that too much? No, that's too much. What am I thinking? I need to do another 4,000. Yeah, let's do another 4,000. So I bought the dip, motherfuckers. I bought the dip. I put $80,000 into Tesla. I put my money where my fucking mouth is. Who likes that? All right. So somebody asked about NVIDIA, whether or not I would take money out of NVIDIA, a $3.53 trillion stock, and put it towards Tesla, a company that is releasing their Optimus robot and so many other things. And what are they sitting at for a market cap? 919 billion, probably a little lower than that right now. I would sell my Nvidia and buy Tesla. I would easily, just by market cap alone, not to mention what's going to be the bigger growth company over the next several years if you're not retarded like Jeremy and you actually understand the future. I'm going to say Tesla. If you're not retarded like Jeremy, it's going to be Tesla. No offense, Jeremy. You're just being retarded. So I wouldn't say it if it wasn't true. Metaplanet up 0.64% after 26.54% last week. We're up again today. How retarded is that? I use the word retard a lot. Probably shouldn't do that. If I had a coworker years ago who we used to make fun of another coworker that he was best friends with, and I would call him a retard all the time. You know what I learned the hard way? I learned that my coworker, that I was talking about his best friend being a retard all the time as a joke, I learned that my coworker actually had a retarded brother. And he was very nice about it. But he said, "I'm sorry, are you talking about my brother?" And I go, "What the fuck are you talking about?" I'm like, "Quit screwing with me, bro." And he goes, "No, man, are you talking about my brother or are you talking about Andy?" And I was like, "You're screwing with me, I know it, but I'm talking about Andy, obviously." And then he goes, "Oh, I thought you were talking about my brother." And then he sends me a family photo with his retarded brother sitting right in the middle. That's not a joke. That's a true story. So you'd think I'd learn, but I don't. And don't get me wrong. People with Down syndrome, I actually think they're wonderful. I think they probably live happier lives than the most of us who make things too complicated. Honestly, I think sometimes that life is probably a lot more peaceful and better. Honestly, as long as people aren't being assholes to people like that, because they shouldn't be. Scott King, great question and answer. NVIDIA for Tesla. Jesse, did I understand you to say that you bought TSLL over Tesla? I want to follow your lead. Do whatever you want. Just understand how TSLL works. It's a 2x daily. That's what they're trying to do daily. So you have theta decay, just like options, and then you have the potential for rebalancing issues that cause bleed. That can work towards a positive effect that will give you greater than 2x if the stock goes up a lot over a short period of time, which I believe it can do. Between now and the end of the year, I think it could do really, really well. Now, if we do just a lot of sideways to down chop, you're going to get butchered. So you do you, Scott, but just understand what you're getting into. You have to understand the vehicles that you're in, guys. If you don't, you end up suffering later. And I don't want people to suffer because they don't know what they're doing. That would make me sad. I want everybody to do well. You can make mistakes, but don't ruin yourself, please, because you buy shit and you don't understand the gravity of it. That is the last thing I want to see. Metaplanet starting to run. Metaplanet up almost 2%. No, I'm not going to use that word. I'm going to get better. I'm Downs. You Downs? Thanks, Raver. Like as if we lived as a dog. A dog probably lives a dog is just like, dude, feed me, bro. I love you. You're great. And then cats have it the best. Cats are like, fuck you. Where's my food in my litter box? So they have the best. Hood down 8%. Oh my God, guys. If only somebody could have told us that Hood was going to go up a shit ton a couple of years ago and then would have been gracious enough to tell us last week that we had probably topped and we're going to fall to the 65 range. At least. We could go down into the 50 range. If only somebody could have told us. Only somebody. Fun. All right. So let me look here. So there's Strife. Strife doing all right today. Strifing along. We got our heat map. I don't know if this thing's refreshed in a while. Again, I'm glad I bought my 85,000 in Bitcoin. I should probably post that. Let's do that real quick. Let me just do that super fast. I believe idiotic is deemed most PC because it never applied specifically to one group. Okay. I don't really care about PCC lists. I hope you know that by now. I don't. And I like people with Down syndrome. Again, I think those people are probably... I think they're probably better people and live happier lives than most other people. Because they don't create all the bullshit in their head and they don't look at all the garbage and all the negativity, at least if they're smart-ish for Down syndrome. All right, let's keep going. What was I going to do? Oh, yeah, Tesla. I got to bring this up real quick. Miners closing their gaps. I love it, dude. Let's take a look here real quick. Mara only 0.86. Oh, yeah, so dropping back. Oh, yeah. Okay, I could see that. Closing the gap on the morning. That's fine. Hood. Oof. Yeah, you're right. That's painful. Another down day for Hood. Who's down with the Hood? Nobody today. TLT. Does anybody care about TLT? Not with bond. Yields rising. They don't. Nope. No love for the TLT. ARCG. Getting a little bit of love, the ARCG. But again, stocks maybe looking toppy this week. I think that's possible. That could maybe hold miners back now that I think about it. But I do think miners are due an opportunity here. Clean Spark up almost 2%. I'm just sorry. I'm moving these off and getting them off my screen and off to the side so I can keep track of them. And then, again, Mara up 1.33. I think these are coming back. I think they're coming back. What's Iron sitting at today? Iron's still up almost 3%. What was Similar up? 1.5%. So kind of okay on Similar. Nothing great. Soul Strategies 2.4%. I think we got a little bit of a retrace on Bitcoin. Just a tiny little baby bump, but I think people are getting a little scared off by it. Whatever. That happens. Oh, I should switch this to probably the day, right? So I'm already up on my Tesla investment, and I'm just going to tell people real quickly. I might show them a screenshot. These are two different accounts. I'll just tell them what I did. Let me see here real quickly. I think 82,000. All right. So again, I did what I said I was going to do. I said I'd buy $70,000 to $100,000 worth. I might end up getting a little bit more, but at least you know I'm an honorable person. Run SMLR. Poke it with a stick. I'll try, Raver. Alexander Dinabin says, "Hey Jesse, would like to add to my CLSK and Mara positions. What calls are you buying?" I'm not buying any. I'm loaded up. I'm actually going to start unloading them. The calls can do all right. If you're on my Discord, you can see them. And if you're on X and subscribers, you can see them. I haven't traded them in a while, so it's probably better to be on Discord to look at the calls that I have for the miners. And you might need to go back a little bit because, again, I haven't bought them in ages. I'm like maxed out on all those. Can we buy Alt BG here? Which platform? You got to be in the European Union, and I don't know which platform from there. I think Interactive Brokers is there, but I don't know for sure. Scott King, you are amazingly unselfish and generous with your knowledge. Thank you, sir. I try to be. Chances we get Metaplanet listed on Robinhood? Well, let's think about that. I think Metaplanet is the next GameStop. Do you think Vlad Tenev, the CEO of Robinhood, wants another movie about GameStop? The new GameStop? Do you think Vlad Tenev wants that? I'm going to say the chances are like hell freezing over. But ask Vlad. Maybe he's more positive than I am. But I think that the chances of them adding Metaplanet are probably super low because he doesn't want to have another movie where they don't necessarily represent him in a good light. And don't get me wrong, the guy from Winter Soldier, great actor. I really love him. But I don't think Vlad was very impressed with how he was portrayed in that movie. We should all shill Similar for personal gain. I will never do that. But you guys feel free. Jesse, can you check? Oh, yeah, KWM. Is that another one? Which one is that? Is that on this list too? Let me see here. Is that on the tracker? No, it's not even on the tracker. Okay. So let me see. I don't even think I have that one, bro. But I will try and pull it up for you. Tesla's only down 1.5% right now. Looks like it paid to buy Tesla today, guys. Glad I did. Let me find this KWM thing, majigger. KWM, and this is another Bitcoin treasury. This is South Korean. Oh yeah, the South Korean one. Okay, thank you for that. That's probably a good one to look at. Is it K-Wave Media? Is that what it is, or is it some? Is that the ticker? Is it KWM in the U.S. too? Is this it? Holy shit! What the fuck? How much did they buy? It's up 14%. This one just opened up recently, is this? It's 246 million. I don't know. Might put a little towards that. 500 million raised, and they got a 246 million market cap. I'd say that's easy money. Easy money to 10. I might even be interested in it. Maybe I'll sell some Tesla stock to buy more 2X and then add that KWM to my investment portfolio. I might do that. You got me interested, bro. This is just going to be a YOLO. Guys. Just so you know. So I've got 169,000 in Tesla stock. I want to sell maybe like 50,000. Oh no, I don't want to buy. I want to sell. It's like put money in. No, I don't want to. Buy order, limit order, stop loss order. I just want to sell it, bro. Why can I not sell right now? Oh, it's on the wrong tab. I might do 70,000 maybe. Yeah, I'll do 70. Okay, sell. You're placing an order to sell approximately $70,000 of Tesla. Okay, sounds good. And then I'm going to try this. I hope they have this, actually, now that I've done this. Yeah, they do. Okay, good. And then I'm going to buy 70,000 and this. All right. I own $70,000 in KWM. Thank you for that one. That was fun. It's a fun way to spend a morning. I guess I'll have to add this to my watch list since I got some money in it. Can I look at this? Is this skyrocketing? CRWV. What is CRWV? Can you please check MATA? It's the Canadian meta planet. Oh my God, how many are there? Oh, that's funny. All right, one second. Let me check this, you guys. I'm not buying any more. All right, let me see here. MATA. I'll add these to the Discord too, guys. I've heard MBIS is really good, right? What is that one AI or what is the play there? I haven't really been paying attention to Crossroads and those other guys. Whoa, K-Wave Media is up 23%. I'm already making a shit ton. 24, guys. 26. 27%. Already made a shit ton of money off of KWM. Thank you for that, guys. MATA. How do I find MATA? Is it Gitex? No. Is it Panasonic? Is it Matador? I don't even know what this is. Oh, I got to go to the bathroom. And I might have to check MATA later, guys. But I'm loving the almost 30% upside on KWM. I've already made a lot off of that. That's crazy. I am up now, guys, on KWM, which I just bought. I'm up 10% on the day. Matador. Oh, it is Matador. Okay. All right, let me see here. MATA. I'll probably do that. And then I got P. Which exchange should I be looking at? There isn't one. Is this Matador in the U.S.? Is this U.S.? I might look at that. And this is the Canadian version, okay? This is the U.S. exchange, OTC market for it. And this is I don't even know what the market cap is. Let me go back to the other one. I'm going to have to look at the other one. I don't even know what the market cap is. It doesn't list it. TSXV, is that the Canadian exchange? I'm assuming it is. It doesn't show a market cap. What is Matador? The Danny Duncan power drink? Can't be the same thing. TSXV. Okay. All right. I don't know. What is the market cap on this, dude? You guys are getting me all FOMO-y with this shit. Fuck you. Damn it. I made so much already off of KWM or whatever it is. I don't even know what it is. You guys are ridiculous. Was I a chick magnet? You guys are funny. I did not play the bass, but thank you for that. All right, cool. I think I'm gonna call it here, guys. I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna give you guys a video I wanted to play. It's one I haven't played in a long time. I think Bitcoin is the future. I think it saves humanity along with robotics and autonomy, which is our Elon Musk frame. But I think I want to really focus on sound money today. So we're going to go out with an oldie but a goodie. And I love you guys. And I'm going to see you probably not tomorrow, probably Wednesday. But if it's tomorrow, I'll let you know. All right. Peace out, guys. Let's get going with this. See ya.
With time, a seed becomes a tree, sheltering us. With time, a skill becomes a talent, empowering us. With time, a technology becomes a tool, enhancing us. By nature, time gives value to almost everything, yet the very thing our society gives value to, our money, loses value over time. This paradox warps our reality by defying the laws of nature, and it stems from the belief that $1 today is worth more than $1 tomorrow. Meaning money must always lose value. We built our reality off of this model. Time value of money, we call it, but in reality, this is just dogma. Since we can keep making more of it, we end up destroying our own purchasing power. So we put it in stocks, put it in bonds, put it in land, put it in funds, put it in crypto, put it in gold. But we are not oracles, so what do we know? We know that it's hard to get by. We know some people may never retire. Is time value of money a license that discounts the monetary value of our time? If time is money, how are they moving in different directions? We're working longer for less, we end up just giving away our freedom. Give up liberty for policies, give up our agency to the authorities. Because when our foundation is built on complexity, we simplify humans by giving up our humanity. Reality check, we've strayed too far from the truth. The world economy's a wreck when 1 + 1 no longer equals to 2. And if life's created from the truth, along the way something got screwed. And we let our own dogma subjectify value. We divorce action from consequence. We defy the law of physics when we make scarcity infinite. We disregard the language of mathematics. So our systems are built in a fallacy. Our society's based in a fantasy. In the absence of truth, we're living in the shadows of our own reality. And that's the root problem. Man-made rules can be broken. As our trust crumbles, so does the progress of our civilization. But one thing remains constant. No one can cheat nature. So why not use it to architect a stronger base layer? The most beautiful buildings engineered based on these consequences. Natural law drives rigor needed to build something enduring, uncompromising on principles that accounts for the flaws. Because when our lives are at stake, the gravity of truth cannot be ignored. So if our monetary systems were designed like structures, it would embody energy and matter, so the money itself matters. An unbreakable limit enforced by costliness of creation ensures the structure holds value for many generations. A rule-based system governed by maths builds a transparent ecosystem that can self-error correct. With no one in charge, no words are taken as fact. Only work from computation can actualize truth of timestamps, and like water flowing off a cliff down the path of gravity, computational energy makes time flow one way only. It is this irreversibility which gives value to our money by upholding consensus and scarcity to create one shared reality. Now the map is the territory. Now we're working with high fidelity. Now money is truthfully time and energy bound by finality. Now we have the ability to manifest each of our dreams and build a world that is much more reflective of all of our needs. And that's the purpose of money. Merely a tool to shape our reality, merely a function to harness and express individuality, just a way to live freely, just a means for possibility. Because when we build on integrity, we enhance the beauty of humanity. The most beautiful societies are built from diversity of our thoughts that come to life when we're empowered individually. Because when our money tomorrow is worth more than today, we shift from predicting to creating the future ourselves. And when our money grows in value, we grow thoughtful in how we use it. Natural law drives rigor needed to fund something enduring, something truly worth it, something that pushes the sky's limit, something only possible when our real value and consequence exist in boundless virtual dimensions. Imagine potential creations, fueled by monetary life force, lasting for many generations. We will venture into new territories and unleash these possibilities once we learn to embrace the truth of our reality.